might as well hit record. The world might as well see what you spend most of the first hour of our meetings doing. Okay. Oh, complete set.
This is the third complete set that I've had this year, and I've sold the other two. So if you've been very nice or know somebody who has for your Christmas list, $2,500 going up on eBay soon. So
lovely.
Yes.
Lovely. Well, does everyone have their beer? Are we all synchronized at last? Andrew, did yours arrive?
No.
Oh. Well, that's sad.
He feels so left out.
It's probably going to arrive tomorrow. Yes, we had one listener send us some beer money, and so I was trying to get us synchronized. So I sent Matt a Best Day Brewing Kolsch, but Speckled Hen. I think that'll do.
Well, I'm actually not drinking it because I'm preaching for All Saints in a couple of hours. So I've got the coffee flavored beer this morning.
Okay. Or the beer flavored coffee.
Or something. They have beer in Cambridge. And so, yeah. Oh, well, thank you. How kind of our listener, David, to send us beer money. And thanks for the Kolsch.
Yes. Was the thinking here, did they overhear us talking about non-alcoholic beers and me point out many of them were not good tasting? Am I meant to come into this with high expectations? I guess, am I asking, is this meant to be like, when you try this, you're going to realize there's good non-alcoholic beer?
For what it's worth, I think the Kolsch is great.
All right.
But no, this was simply because, we're loved by our listeners, and they
that's really
occasionally. Yes, it was Dave. I think it was Dave Gonzalez. Yeah.
Oh, to Dave.
Yeah, it was Dave got to Dave. Cheers.
Dave.
Cheers.
Oh, I should have did a pint glass. That would have been smart.
Yeah, dude, go get it. David and I can fill up the time. We don't need you. That's obvious by now.
That actually is pretty good. You guys just send me beer, non-alcoholic Kolsch beer, and I'm happy to just kind of let you guys do your thing.
Yeah.
I can be bribed away from the show.
Is that all it takes? So how was everyone's Halloween?
Good. Actually, I forgot my best flex. I'll bring it next time. I reached out to Catholic Woodworker, to Jonathan, who, of course, made this beautiful rosary, pocket rosary that you all sent me, the St. Benedict. And I liked it so much that I got the same setup with the blue paracord and the brown beads, and I added the miraculous metal here, and I changed it out for a pardon crucifix. And I like the blue one so much, but I wanted one for each different liturgical season. So I got 4 more with purple cord, green cord, white cord, and red cord. So now I have a pocket crucifix for every liturgical season, which is about as nerdy a thing that you can do.
I love this.
So
that's amazing.
And I don't pray the rosary. I kind of pray the Anglican rosary, and do it my way because we broke off.
What is actually, I'm not, this is going to go on a total side tangent. Unfortunately, I feel like by asking this question,
wait, there are side tangents to common rooms,
particularly your, no, but because you have such a, I would say like a high Anglican, so close to Catholicism in many ways, and such a beauty.
Anglo-Catholic is the adjective we use.
There we go. I love it. What's the accepted teaching and kind of practices around, praying to saints, Mary kind of being in that camp? What does that look like? Like, where does it line up? Where does it deviate? I don't actually think I know that, in kind of your own views, at least. Maybe you can't speak for all of the church, but.
Yeah, actually, we've got the 39 articles of religion, which are constitutive of, it's kind of what makes the Anglican theology. So I'm copying it and pasting it here in the chat. The official view, part of what happens, the Anglican communion starts as a Protestant and Reformed church, I mean, we did move away and have moved away from the Catholic Church, and there are some important things that we upon which we differ, in part in reaction to some of the admitted excesses of the late medieval church, right? And so, yeah, and I think that there's something down there about, I'm not sure where it is, which article it is.
Click Control F, Mary. Or saints. I'm curious, Mary or saints. I'm curious. So just to kind of get a sense of okay, here we go. Roman
and thanks for teaching me how to do find, Matt. That was great. My view of praying to saints and praying to Mary comes from the fundamental theology that all of my prayers need to be changed out of my language into the earthly language, and changed out of what I want into what God would have for me. And so the classic Protestant objection is, why should I waste my time praying to anybody except Jesus? For me, Mary becomes in some ways kind of an icon of God's maternal care for us. And she was the most important human. I think that Protestants undervalue Mary. And what is it? Revelation 12, right? Where she's crowned with stars. So I think that I think that Protestants need a healthier look at Mary. And the too easy dismissal of, hey, that's idolatry, blah, 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 is exactly that. It's too easy. For me, I trust that
my challenge always is, if Mary's... Sorry, we got a little bit of a lag. I was just going to say, my challenge whenever I hear that is always, okay, show us how it should be done. Because Mary says, henceforth all generations will call me blessed. It's very clear how that happens in the Catholic and Orthodox churches.
Sure.
If you think we're doing it wrong, show us, honor her in the right way, and then we can talk.
Sure. And what I often will point out, not from the pulpit, right, but in my own personal practice, even as a priest, the Hail Mary is almost entirely a biblical prayer. And the only part that is extra biblical is imploring her to pray for us sinners now and in the hour of our death. And maybe, the dead are allowed to pray for us, maybe not, I don't know. But for me, addressing her becomes the means of approaching the maternal nature of God, right? I think it was Lady Julian who called Jesus our mother. And so
she has a lot of feminine imagery.
Yeah. And so it's not official practice, but for me, all prayer is a way of lifting my eyes and my heart from myself and this world and appealing to that which is greater. And probably the biblical justification is whatever is excellent, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, think on these things, is part of the way that I approach that. So it's from a Reformed and Protestant point of view. But I really think that the role of Our Lady in the history of Christian faith is important and underlooked since the Reformation. A big tangent, but mostly just a shout out to Jonathan and Catholic
I
Woodworker.
appreciate it's we don't tend to get into that stuff too much, so it's helpful to hear your perspective. I appreciate that.
And Pope Alexander approves.
Oh my goodness, he is so stinking cute.
Yes, he is.
He wants to be Pope John Paul II because he loves the fact that he was shot but didn't die.
Oh, sweet.
I feel like Alexander, I can't tell if he's looks like more Marie or more David or a true blend.
Oh, I would say he's more me. But particularly whenever he's being goofy and whenever he's being silly, you see Marie come through. It's like, you're looking like your mother. What did you do?
Yeah.
So I don't remember what we're going to do in this common room. I know in our last episode we recorded, we talked about talking about demon possession. We talked about life. We went on all the little side tangents that then I ended up finishing the entire stories. But
Yeah, good job on that. Well, I had a couple of things just written down. One, just like, how was everyone's Halloween? Did you do anything fun? So we had no trick or treaters because the temperatures were so low. It just suddenly dropped, and then I don't think it was that. I don't think that was enough to put the kids off, but enough to put their parents off, who were meant to be supervising. And so we just went to a party next door at my relatives. So there were all of the kids, and so it was usual bedlam. But I wanted to throw out, what have people been watching and reading?
I did want to say we did trunk or treat at my parish last night, and men's ministry cooked 200 hot dogs and got 200 chips and drinks, and we had a large crowd of folks, and many who were really surprised that we had dinner for them. So it was lovely. We had a good time. What have I been reading?
Yeah, honestly,
or watching. Not much. Go ahead, Matt.
I think there's a decent delay.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate to say it. This question is not going to go very far. I'm in that like final push with the coding, and Marie's been super busy. Or Marie, we were just talking about Marie. Mary Margaret has been super busy with
what
her
has
work
Kristen
as well.
been doing?
And Kristen has just been flabbergasted by Andrew's personality lately. No, it's one of those where sometimes you go through those seasons of life where you work takes all of your mental capacity, and so then you come home and go exercising, quality time, going for a walk, all that stuff. But then when the evening comes, her and I just sit down, and we've been watching Suits lately.
Okay.
I've loved it. That was my show. One of my very few shows that I ever watched consistently when it came out once a week, since it was not on a streaming service, but back in 2011 in college. I would watch it every Thursday. It would come out on Thursdays. I'd watch it every Friday or something like that, with a glass of scotch and a popcorn.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really fun that my wife really is enjoying it. She's very drawn to the different outfits of the female attorneys.
She likes the Suits part of Suits.
There you go.
Yes. So anyways, I wish I had like something more to state. But I've had some I guess one thing that's been really fun is just the nature of her work. We've been very fortunate just to meet some wonderful people throughout the weeks and months in DC and New York and some of these different things. And so it's been really fun to just meet different individuals that are just doing some really cool stuff, and to kind of hear their stories. She had an event where she had the chief White House counsel under the Trump administration, who was the head of it, and just kind of talk about his journey. He's got like 8 kids, 9 kids, 10 kids, something like that, devoutly Catholic.
Clearly.
Yeah, I believe he played a role in getting the first ever mass to the White House. There was never mass, or at least recorded in recorded history prior to the Trump administration. So they had it weekly. Just kind of cool stories and stuff like that. So I guess that's a weird way of saying getting intellectual stimulation more through conversations with people doing really cool things than I am through reading intellectual books.
Well, Marie and we've been going through Person of Interest, and that was my show. I watched that in Seattle.
Ooh, that's a good one with Jim Caviezel.
Yes, movie Jesus, not TV Jesus, movie Jesus.
Oh, okay.
But Marie had seen it a little sporadically and enjoyed it, and so we just went all the way through season 1. And that was a lot of fun. And because of Alexander, I've watched quite a lot of Shaun the Sheep as well. That's also on Amazon Prime, and he quite often wants me to sit down with him when he's watching it.
That's
but
sweet.
one movie that we saw this week was In the Heights. It's the musical by the same guy that's behind Hamilton.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That's it. It was very pretty. The music was fun, and because of my salsa background, it was, I could sort of feel my shoulders and my hips start to move to the Latin beats. That was a lot of cool.
It's pronounced salsa.
No, salsa.
Okay, great. Says the Englishman to the
Salsa,
Hispanic. Well, Kristen and I
Wow.
have been catching up on the latest season of the Great British Baking Show, which is a standard for us. We love that.
Ooh.
And then, there's like 34 seasons of Chopped. So we'll throw a Chopped on. I love to cook and I learn recipes and stuff from that. So we've been watching a lot of the permutations of that.
Andrew, you and I are similar that way.
Yeah.
I feel like in my dynamic with Mary Margaret, I like to do a lot of the cooking, mainly because she has a long commute, and so I end up having time between when I finish up and when she gets home. But I love just finding new dishes. I love cooking things. I love there's just something fun about creating something new from raw ingredients.
Yeah. And looking at them, seeing how they fit together. Yeah, I love that.
It.
I love that bit. We should do a recipe show, a recipe episode next Common Room. I've got a couple of good ones and some seasonings and stuff we can show to the camera. So, yeah, certainly love that. I'm about
honestly,
to
we could be good at it. I have practice. I've practiced with this because I've had my relationship with Mary Margaret was long distance. Some previous ones were, and so I'm very good at the idea of date night recipe FaceTimes. Where you're doing the same recipe, you're chatting, you got the camera in a strategic spot. I got this, man. We can do this, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might just hold the camera for Marie because she loves to cook, and whenever I come upon her in the house where she's sort of having her own personal downtime, she's always watching recipe shows on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
always. Or Instagram when she had it.
Yeah,
she loves that stuff. I'm pretty sure, Matt, we gave you guys for your wedding, among the cache of poetry books, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, which is basically that's Marie's sort of extended canon. So you've got the biblical canon, the Deuterocanon, and then you've got Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat sort of stuck on the end of it. It's that's where it is in the level of importance.
No, she was very excited for that, and the Scarlet Pumpernickel. She loves that book.
Pimpernel,
that one.
Yeah, Kristen is actually writing a book.
She's very excited for me to read that. No way!
It's so good. Okay, we're gonna have to get on to talk about that because it's definitely one of Marie's favorite books. I think she would actually even say it's probably her favorite book. And she tried to get me to read it for the longest time. And when I took her to England, she was still trying to get me to read it. And she tried several times. And each time she was reading me her favorite bit, I fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
But
Andrew married up.
It's a really good story.
I mean, Andrew married up big time. The amount of times I hear him say, Christian's writing a book. I'm like, this is just unreal. Sometimes you marry what you have a hard time you lack.
Or as I like to say, we've written 90 books between us.
That's such a good way to do that. That's like that person that tweeted out and he goes, Bill Gates and Elon Musk and I had to pay $12 billion in taxes last year.
Combined, yes.
Yeah. Well, along those lines, I'm going to start to kind of put my head down. I've got a concentrated path to finishing my doctorate at Northwind. So the next couple of months are going to be finishing coursework. And then hopefully before the end of the year, I'll actually start writing chapters on my Till We Have Faces book with Diana Glyer as my treatise director. So, there's a plan forward, a way to move forward and a plan for all of that. And so I'm hoping that all of the work will be done by spring. And I'll get the doctorate probably by June, I think. And then just carry on finishing the book Until We Have Faces. The 2026 is the 70th anniversary of Lewis's best book. And 2027 is the American 70th anniversary of the American edition. So I'm thinking about, I'm starting to say no to some things, and just concentrating on getting this stuff done and imploring everybody's prayers for help with that.
I will say, Andrew, I met a gentleman who, in the business world, wonderful Catholic, and we connected and we were just chatting about experiences and stuff. And he loves C.S. Lewis and he loves Till We Have Faces. And I told him co-host is working on a book. And hopefully it'll come out sometime soon. He's waiting for it.
Yeah, good. Well,
along with the rest
prayers when you speak to him next. So Charlie Starr, my advisor at Northwind Seminary, always signs his emails TWHB, till we have book. So,
Did you see the pictures of Charlie's Halloween costume?
No.
Oh my goodness!
Pull those up.
Let me pull this up. This is kind of epic.
And I'll show you my latest picture.
That's what he was wearing.
Oh, that's so perfect.
So good.
Well, and Charlie has been my.
Go for it.
Charlie has been my long-standing.
Well,
sorry, the lag. Charlie's been my long-standing academic advisor.
I think Florida is still recovering.
Yeah. So I sent Charlie a nice first edition of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to thank him for his role.
Oh, I love it. Well, I mean, speaking of books, over the last few months, I finally did Harry Potter.
Oh, wow.
So,
I just finished number 1.
Well, see, this was how it went. So when Harry Potter first came out, it was super popular, so I didn't care. That's just my nature. Something's really popular. I don't want to look at it. Then the first movie came out. And I thought, oh, right, fine. Let's go see what the fuss is about. I didn't think much of it. I thought a lot of it was very derivative. And then
Derivative of what?
Everything. But this is the flip side. This is the flip side. And then at the beginning of this year, the Literary Life podcast with Angelina Stanford and Thomas Banks, they did a series on the first Harry Potter book. And it was superb. And the chief thing that she was showing was that J.K. Rowling was drawing on the literary tradition and interacting with it. Well, when I watched the movie, I saw it as derivative, and I can definitely say the books are way better. She's interacting with all of the other stuff that we love, all of the stuff that Lewis himself drew upon, all these medieval and classical images. And she went through the first book and was like, all right, I'll read the first book. I was impressed enough with, they did like three episodes on it. So I read the first book and was like, that was pretty good. And then I pretty much did I think I got through about 2 books a month after that. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. And the chief thing I would say about the Harry Potter books, they're mystery novels. Every single one, it's a mystery novel. You have a setup of a story and a couple of mysteries going, and she is very good at hiding the mystery well enough, but keeping it in plain sight. Dorothy L. Sayers and Chesterton, they are part of the detective club. And in that club, the rules were, Agatha Christie and co were in it as well. But the rules were that you weren't allowed to just sort of suddenly introduce something at the last minute or have the detective pick up a small piece of paper, read it, and not tell you what it was if that was essential to solving the mystery. And I think she's very good at keeping everything front and center, so that in theory you could solve it. And a couple of them I did, but make the mystery compelling enough. And so I was very impressed. And I actually she's got, I think it's Corman Strike. She's got another set of actual detective novels, mystery novels, written under a different pseudonym. That I bought Marie the first one, and her assessment was it was very enjoyable, but it could have been about 200 pages shorter. And I don't read books that long unless it has a glowing endorsement from my wife. So I'm probably not going to read it.
Yeah,
I have to say, it is interesting you say that, because I guess I have been reading a book. I'm finishing Harry Potter 1. And obviously, in hindsight, spoiler alert for the few unique individuals who haven't read it in life, that that Quirrell at the end plays the role in number 1. And it was interesting to read it knowing that perspective now and try to see. I will say she led it to Snape pretty aggressively in the book, more so than the movie, I thought. But at the same time, you can see little bits and pieces.
Well, there are enough definitive facts that bring it into question, and then you always have Dumbledore's opinion, and it's like, I don't know if I want to disagree with his opinion.
That's a fair point. You do have some very credible sources vouch for Snape.
Kind of like Orwell, really.
Yeah, but I will say this: the thing that got me was, if I read it right, I should go back and double check this. But early on, Harry Potter runs into Quirrell and shakes his hand before before getting to school. I think sees him when he's doing all of his shopping. And I thought to myself, does this mean Voldemort wasn't attached to him yet because he can't touch him?
There's some kind of there's some plot holes, with some of that.
That's what it seemed like to me. That one seemed like a plot hole to me, but at the same time, I actually haven't quite finished. I have about 10% of the book left, and so I was like, maybe the ending doesn't have that scene like the movie does, where he puts his hand on his face and it disintegrates. Because I don't know, so maybe the book doesn't have a hole, but right now it seems like it has a little hole there.
Another series that David and I have read that Matt is catching up on. That's great.
Which series?
The Potter series.
Yeah, Potter, like the Narnia series.
Oh, I mean, I've read Harry Potter like 2-3 times, but
okay.
I have not read it. I read it. I don't think I've read it since middle school, and so I used to reread the books in between the new ones. But that was so long ago.
Oh wow, he said middle school.
The book and the movie.
I first started reading them when I was when I was an undergraduate getting my degree in English, and when a number of professors said, "Oh, you'll really like this," especially with your interest in Lewis, I finally gave in and read them. And the first one, I think I stayed up all night and just swallowed it whole. The two of the things I like the most about it, and Kristen doesn't really care for them as much as I do. I was so compelled by that first read that I immediately bought the second book, but I didn't read it until the third book came out. What are you showing us?
Yes, I have built the Harry Potter Lego castle. In case people doubt my love for Harry Potter.
Yeah,
my brother brought that up in the best man speech.
Yeah. So,
sorry, Andrew, you were saying?
No. I loved waiting, and I wouldn't read the current book until the next book came out because I didn't want the series to end. And it helped me to understand what it must have been like for the children reading Narnia, and if you finished Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 1950, you had to wait until 51 for Caspian to come out. And so I didn't want the series to end. And so I had that delay. I also love how Rowling has said, I read somewhere, she said that she can't walk through a room and see a book by C.S. Lewis and not stop and pick it up. And so, she certainly has, I think, a debt to all of that. So here we are.
Two things around that.
Hang on.
First of all, I have that right now deeply with Name of the Wind.
I love that. So here's Diana and Kristen and me in the dining hall from Hogwarts. And I sat in Dumbledore's chair. Yeah, Rothfuss, Name of the Wind is amazing.
He needs to get on that third book, man. It's killing me. I have now read Name of the Wind 3 times. Yep. And what was the second one? Strangers. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And then there's Slow Regard for...
I haven't read those, but... I had an ongoing battle with Audible because I have a US account and a UK account, and they lost all my UK books. And I've wasted days of my life speaking to them on phone, chat, email, trying to get them back. But they eventually relented, and they actually gave me all of my credits, and they put them in my US account, so I don't have to touch my UK one ever again, which is really nice.
Good.
So I have credits to burn. So if you guys would recommend that one, then I'll give that a go.
Very much. Wise Man's Fear.
Yes. Number one book series in my entire life. Like Name of the Winds, I devoured that book. And every time I've read it since, I continue to passionately love it and honestly get engaged in the story, despite obviously knowing exactly where the first 2 books go. It is so good. And everyone I've ever recommended it to has said the same thing. So I stand behind it.
And the 10th anniversary deluxe edition has got appendices that do the calendars and the languages and the monies and everything. And so, yeah, that was a Christmas gift one year. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Well, ending this on a book recommendation, I think it's just about perfect.
That's great.
Happy All Saints Day to everybody
Yes.
who celebrates it. And we'll
Yes.
see you again
And
soon.
To all the saints.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheerio. By the way, I definitely recommend this beer. It's very good.
Glad to hear it.